Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to just like a fun, chatty, sit down, talk about our feelings, prepping for the new year kind of video. If I look really washed out, I'm so sorry. I have no idea why, like I'm pale to begin with, but I think it's because I'm facing the window and it's snowing out, so it's just like pure white outside. And I don't know, I adjusted the contrast and the brightness on my camera, so hopefully it doesn't look too bad, but I'm just very pale, so I apologize. We've got a special guest here today, sleeping through the whole thing. But today we're just going to talk about habits for 2023, which I think is closely correlated to goals and resolutions. For some, like the thought of setting goals and habits can be a lot and really overwhelming. And I definitely think it can be. This year I decided to view habits almost like a brain dump. So this morning I just sat down, I was going through and prepping for my January reset and just kind of breaking down my 2023 goals and all that stuff. And I kind of caught myself thinking about like my morning habits and my night habits and just habits in general that I want to either improve on or start in 2023. And I kind of just started like word vomiting on the Notion page and just like brain dumping, and I kind of thought it'd be a fun video to share with you guys. Some of these are things that I'll have to work on every day. Some of them are things I already do that I want to carry into this year, and I thought it would maybe just help you guys out at creating even some goals for the year. So I kind of just wanted to share them with you guys, and I decided to do 23 habits for 2023 because I just thought it would be kind of fun, but don't feel like you have to do that many. This is honestly more of like a brain dump to me. It was just like very therapeutic to do on my iPad this morning and just kind of with a cup of coffee, just literally, like I said, like word vomit. Okay, honestly, let's jump into it. Like I said, I want this to just be like super casual, chatty, like as like raw and close unedited as I can, and just like let's hang out. You can put this on while you're maybe planning your 2023 out or goal setting or whatnot. And like I said, I just really love the idea of using habits as kind of like a brain dump. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to Maya Lee because she filmed 23 life-changing habits for 2023, and that's kind of where I got the whole idea for this video. So a huge shout out to her because I absolutely loved that concept. Okay, so I divided up my habits into health and wellness, financial, career and work, and personal. And like I said, once I start naming these, you guys will kind of understand what I mean by like they aren't necessarily goals like hit 100K or get a promotion. It's mind setting habits or brain dumping habits, just very reflective to do. Something I really want to work on this year is habit stacking, and I really want this year to be selfishly all about me. I feel like something I put on the back burner is myself, in the sense of like I don't even know how to explain it, because I go for walks, I move my body, I eat nourishing foods, but I just feel like I mean, I do spread myself thin in terms of like my career. So like my 9-to-5, my corporate job, YouTube, and then of course like grad school, my relationships, family and stuff. I feel like I have a good juggle of it. Like I don't struggle. I mean, sometimes I do struggle to juggle it, but I feel like for the most part as a whole, I do a good job balancing it all. But I just feel like I've really slacked on taking care of myself fully. I do take care of myself. Like I go for walks, I get my movement in, I eat veggies, I eat my protein, like I do all those things, but I just want to selfishly work on myself more. I really want to get back into the gym. I really want to increase my protein intake. I just think that this year was really a year of rest for me in terms of like having COVID and my recovery from COVID, which is something I still struggle with, right? And I want this year to like selfishly be all about me. So you guys will notice, I think a big theme this year is like health and wellness in my life. In health and wellness, we have hydrate as soon as I wake up. I feel like I'm really good about this, typically because now we have the Breville and it takes me, you know, a few minutes to like make the coffee, and it's a whole like routine. I'll fill up my Stanley and I'll just kind of like drink my water as I'm making my coffee. So I'm pretty good at getting pretty much 20 to 30 ounces as soon as I wake up. So that's a habit I want to continue in 2023. Next is limiting my screen time to 3 hours a day, and along with that is less mindless scrolling. I just find, obviously when I'm bored, I'm just like mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, and I really want to consume a lot less of TikTok this year, which is why I'm not very active on there. I find it's a platform that really just really fucks with my mental health, to be quite honest. So I really want to do a lot less mindless scrolling. And the way I'm going to work on this is, once again, working in a Pomodoro method, which is like 30 minutes of work and 5-minute break. And that 5-minute break is like getting up and stretching, taking Stella out, making myself some food, etc. It shouldn't be just like mindlessly scrolling. And then I also have my do not disturb on during work hours. The next is better sleep habits and creating a bedtime routine. So as someone who does struggle with PTSD and night terrors, I have a good night routine, but I don't have a good bedtime routine. And I've noticed lately, because I'm in a huge reading slump, I've fallen back into the habit of scrolling on my phone on TikTok before bed, which does not help with the blue light, and I just find I don't get a great sleep. So I really want to create a good solid bedtime routine. I'm good at getting my 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but I do wake up a lot in the night with night terrors, a racing heart, like all that stuff. Or I'm just like very, like, some nights I'm just an insomniac. Like I just can't seem to fall asleep or stay asleep, and I'm always waking up in the middle of the night. So I really want to work on that this year, and you know, just have better bedtime habits, get back to reading before bed, taking my magnesium before bed, and my melatonin, and like my meds if I need any, and just, yeah, having a better bedtime routine. I have a good nighttime routine. I love my nighttime routine. I look forward to it every day, but my bedtime routine could really use some structure and some like rigidity, honestly, which I'm not a fan of, like rigid routines, but my bedtime routine needs to be one of those. Nonfiction reading in the morning. Some mornings I'll watch YouTube. I'm all about kind of just like whatever I feel like doing that day, but when I do read in the morning, I really want to focus on nonfiction reading, just so I feel like I'm like learning something. I'm all about the smutty romance, you guys know, and suburban thrillers, which I love to read at night and just like throughout the day. But first thing in the morning, I think it would be really beneficial for me to pick up a nonfiction book and just like read a chapter or a few pages and just kind of inspire me. Next is sunshine and fresh air in the morning, especially in the winter with seasonal affective disorder. One of my new habits I really want to start for my winter morning routine, which I'm gonna start kind of curating now, is going for a walk as soon as Stella and I get up. I'm pretty good about this in the summer and just like taking her around the block. It doesn't need to be a long walk first thing in the morning, but I find the fresh air really wakes me up right away. And in the winter, I have the tendency to just like let her out in the backyard to go to the bathroom, which she doesn't care because she'll go back to bed. But I think for myself, it would be really beneficial to just like do a loop around the block in the morning, just like wake up naturally. So I really want to keep that habit going into the winter, because I'm good about it in the summer but not in the winter. And the next one, and the last one in health and wellness, is to stop hitting snooze, which I think that the action plan for that is to just like set a more realistic wake up time for myself. I am like the kind of person who will go to bed and be like, I'm gonna get up at 5:30 and go do hot yoga, when like I'm not a morning person and I don't like to work out first thing in the morning. So of course I'm gonna hit snooze because it's not something I want to do and it's not realistic for myself. So I think 7 o'clock is my happy medium, because I work at 8 and I think that's a good wake up time. So that's something I want to work on. Okay, I only have 3 habits for financial, because I just don't really feel like I have a lot of financial habits I want to work on. I just have like more goals I want to achieve this year. The first is paying myself first. I talked about this in my resetting my finances for 2023 video, that I am the kind of person, which I think a lot of us are, to like pay my bills, give myself, you know, pay off my credit card with my variable expenses, and then just invest and save the rest. And I really want to get back into the model of paying myself first. So when I get paid, paying my bills, putting allocated amounts into my savings, and then I can use the leftover. Next is committing to a few no spend days a week. I think that no spend months are just like not very healthy to do. It's, to me, it's just kind of like being on a diet. Like I just think that a lot of people just like binge spend after, and I think it's more important to like consciously spend less than to like restrict yourself. But then again, I'm just not of a restrictive mindset. It just doesn't work well for my brain. So no spend months, like all that stuff, just to me is very restrictive, and I don't do well with that. But I would like to commit to a few no spend days. I already feel like I'm pretty good at this. Like for example, today I'm not really gonna leave the house and do anything. I make my coffee at home. We don't eat takeout a lot. But just commit to doing a few of those a week and like maintaining that habit. And then the last one is work on impulse spending, which is a big goal for the year. And I talked about this once again in my financial reset video for 2023, and just going through those steps of like, do I really need this? Do I already have this at home? What is the cost per wear? Am I impulse shopping or spending because I'm bored, I'm anxious, I'm stressed, etc.? That's just a habit I think I'm going to work on throughout the whole year. Okay, next is career and work habits, which I'm excited about because it's not something I talk a lot about on here. The first is working on my imposter syndrome. I have really bad imposter syndrome when it comes to YouTube. I'm really lucky that I don't have like a lot of hate comments or negative comments on my videos, which I'm also just like learning to like But I have a lot of imposter syndrome when it comes to YouTube, especially just with like recent growth. It's hard when like one video does really well on your channel. For me, that was like my budgeting my paychecks video. It like has close to 1 million views. And then people come to my channel and realize I'm more than finance, and I get in my head about that. Like, people see that video and probably think like I just do finance content, but then what if they click on a vlog and they're like, oh, I just like think she's like very unfiltered and unedited. And I know that people love that, but some people might not like that, and I have to learn to like not care. Like, if people want to stay, they'll stay, and if people don't want to stay, that's also okay. I'm a firm believer that there's like creators that you follow for a certain season of life and then you move on, and then there's people that you'll always watch. But I really want to work on this year my imposter syndrome, and just like believe, not that I don't believe in myself, but I just feel like I have a lot of imposter syndrome like the bigger I get. Like, why me? Like, I'm just a small town girl. I just live in an average city. I don't live anywhere cool, and I just really want to work on that. The next is time blocking my day more consistently, especially with work. As someone who has like a very short attention span, time blocking my day and like kind of having like batch working and batch focus slots works really well for me. So like, for example, the first hour of every day I check my emails, and then throughout the day, like, I have slots where people can book meetings with me, and then the last 2 hours of the day are my focus time where I go and do not disturb, and I just like get a ton of work done. But I want to be more consistent about time blocking. The next is to network more at work and get out of my comfort zone, which includes going back to the office. I think starting a job during the pandemic can be really hard because you're just so used to working from home. But I want to start going back into the office once a week because I feel like I've missed that like networking with like my coworkers. And even then, I'm a pretty reserved person at work. Like, the issue is I get so much done at home that I don't like going into the office because then I'm distracted, I talk to people, and I know that the social aspect is important, but I just don't get a ton done, and I find like I have to make up that work an extra work day, or then I'm just stressed the next day at home when I have a lot of work to make up for. I feel like the lighting just like mega changed. I hope it didn't, but I feel like it did. But anyways, so I am just trying to find this like fine line of like going into the office, and I find when I go in I'm reserved because I just like want to keep my head down and get work done. But I do want to network more and get to know people. I think that's just a part of like getting a new job during the pandemic that's affected us all. Next is to schedule time for personal and professional development. Obviously being in grad school is already like a lot of work on its own, and I don't feel like I have a lot of time for professional development right now, but I do want to just like be constantly bettering myself because I really do enjoy my job. I really am passionate about the field I'm in. And one way I want to do that is to look at how other companies are onboarding their employees in like this job field or like job postings, and just see what I can add. Like, what skills and values and qualities are they looking for in an employee that I could use to better myself in my job. Or just also talking to other people in my position in other departments in the hospital. So obviously a hospital is made up of various departments, like, I don't know, surgery, ICU, med surge, nephro, like all those things, and just kind of talking to other education coordinators in different departments and see how they do things and how I can maybe streamline my job. Because the great thing about my job is that I have a very independent job and I can do a lot on my own and improve things and make new processes. So I really want to just like be learning and constantly being the best version of myself at work that I can be. Okay, and then the last section is personal, and I think I have 23 habits. If I don't, this is super awkward. First is to stop believing everything you see online. Brooke Michio actually just recently made a TikTok about this. Also, if you can hear the snowplow, I'm so sorry. It's winter in Canada. And she said that she really wants to work on like not just believing everything she sees on TikTok. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, that I think TikTok can be a really toxic place because we all see one person say that like this blah 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 product is bad for you, and then we all cut it out without doing the proper research. And you guys know I'm a very science-based person, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of seeing someone say like, oh, this skincare is bad for you, and then I just like stop using it, and then I use something else, and then like I react to it and I break out, and like I should have just stuck with what was working for me, regardless if it's like the best product for everyone. It works for me, you know what I mean? And I just think that there's a lot of aspects of TikTok that are really toxic, like, and I just think people with big platforms really need to be like fact checking before they put information out there that can be harmful to other people. A whole tangent about that, and like how birth control is so villainized now in 2022, and I just don't think it's like fair. But I don't know, I just really hate how we just believe everything we see on social media nowadays. And there's like some things that aren't bad, right? Like, okay, if someone posts like, hey, you should be drinking more water, like, yeah, we could probably all be drinking more water. But just when creators are saying like, oh, take this supplement, and I'm like, no one should just be taking a supplement without checking with their doctor. You may not have a deficiency in it, you may not need it, or yeah, just stuff like that. When people are like, this one pill solved all of my hormonal issues, and I'm like, okay, let's just not be, you know, like putting this online. And so I need to do better about it, but this is just a reminder that like we should not just be putting random information on the internet without fact checking. Next is to be more confident in my decisions. I feel like I have a lot of decision paralysis, and just like in little spots in my life, like when Matt and I have a date night, I hate making the decision, and I want to be better about just being like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what we're doing. Like, just be more confident in my decision making. The next is saying no in a kind way, accepting my boundaries and not over apologizing for it. This year I really learned how to say no to situations and things that I just didn't want to do. I think my time is valuable, and 2022 is a big year of setting boundaries for myself. That might not be easy to do, but the issue is that now I don't have an issue saying no to things, but I over apologize for it, and like I don't need to do that. Like, just stand your ground, say like, sorry, I can't attend this like event, and move on with your life. The next is not chasing friendships, know when it's time to walk away. I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory. Removing myself from situations before responding out of anger. This is something I feel like I'm pretty good about it, but I do sometimes find myself reacting out of anger, especially when I'm having conversations in person with people who don't have the same beliefs as me. And I actually just ordered a book on this that I'm really excited to read. I think it's called I'm Right and You're Wrong or something. I'll put the name of it right here. But I feel like this year there was just a lot. We had the convoy in Ottawa. Then Roe v. Wade was overturned, and I'm just like very passionate about using my platform for educational purposes. But then again, I have to remind myself that that's just like my side of things. Like, that's just what I think. And granted, I think situations like Roe v. Wade being overturned, like there really is, I don't want to say one side to it, but you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that is complicated. And I feel as though if you have a strong opinion, you should be able to listen to others and their side and like respect that. You may not need to understand it, but you should respect it. But I get really heated when people on the other side are just so stuck in their ways that they can't see your side. So for example, Roe v. Wade, right? I'm a firm believer that everyone should have access to abortions. I think we should. I'm very pro-choice. I think that I could talk for hours and hours about it. Like, if I don't want to have a child, I should just be allowed to have an abortion just because I don't want to have a child. Like, that's it. That's as simple as it gets. And I am more than happy to talk with people on the other side, and I've had a few really great conversations about that over on Instagram. I think that if you're going to voice your opinion online, you should be open to having conversations about it. And I'm happy to talk to pro-life people and get their sense and their side of things. But I find my issue and where my anger stems from is when people, for example, that are pro-life will just tell me that, you know, it's murder, blah, 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 and then like not hear my side. Like, I think you can have a respectful conversation with two opposing views, but the other side needs to be able to listen to your point of view. And that's where I find my anger stems from. And I need to remember to just remove myself, because at that point, you're not going to, like, they're not going to listen to your side. They think that they're 100% right, and they can be 100% right if that's what they think, but if they can't even listen to your side of things, I just need to remove myself from the situation, honestly. And so that's something I want to work on this year. Like, it's just not worth it. And so I have to remind myself to just like remove myself from the situation before I say something out of anger. This is simple. It's just take more photos. I just want to take more photos of the people in my life. The next is to stop taking everything personally, which kind of goes along with my imposter syndrome one. I just take everything personally. I'm getting better at it as I grow, and I kind of get more like, I guess, like hate comments. Like, you're not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. You know, you can be the shiniest peach on the tree, and someone might not like peaches, and like, that's fine. But it's something I definitely want to work on. Embrace the difference in others. I think that also goes along with the removing myself from situations before responding out of anger. This is the thing, is that's a habit I already have. I just wish other people would have it, right? Like the example I used earlier, like, I can embrace the fact that someone might be pro-life and I'm pro-choice, and I'm not going to change their opinion. But I just like hope you can have a good conversation about it and see both sides. You know, like, you can be pro-life but understand why people are pro-choice, if that makes sense. This is the only example I can think of, which is why I'm using it, but I also think it's a very important matter to talk about. But I just want to keep embracing the difference in others. It doesn't have to be like political necessarily, but just in general. And the last is spend more time with nature. Matt and I are pretty good. We take Sullivan to the dog park and whatnot every day, but I want to explore more. I want to go on more hikes and find new places and just be outside more, especially in the winter. So let me count those and make sure that was, can you imagine if that wasn't even, oh, that was exactly 23. Okay, that's perfect. But I'm really curious what your habits are for 2023. I would love to know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and just kind of had it on the background. We were like kind of just relaxing, hanging out, having a good time. I hope you guys are having a really wonderful week between Christmas and New Year's and you're enjoying the daily uploads. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!